Roasted, motherfucker. You gotta roast these motherfucks. We already started. Fuck. Why am I so stupid? Alexa, set a timer for 1 hour. Whore. It's weird being halfway through a recipe and not being hammered. I could have done this so much better drunk. Hello friends, and welcome back to my kitchen. It's a sober Sunday. I'm going to do a sober video. You're welcome. But I am excited to show you a recipe that I learned online, mostly inspired by one of my favorite YouTubers, Chef John from foodwishes.com. We'll put a link to him right here. It's a really simple fall soup recipe. It's a roasted butternut squash soup. Very few ingredients, very rich and delicious and easy to make. I'm gonna tie it together with some garlic bread that I just bought, some French bread. Gonna add some garlic butter to it and toast it up to serve with our soup for this lovely afternoon. So let's get started. Not in every video or recipe that I've seen do they peel the butternut squash before they roast it. So you could roast it skin on. You would just want to wash it really well, and then you can scoop out the insides. I find it easier to peel it first. So my technique in doing that is I'm going to cut off the top and bottom. And butternut squash is really hard, so you got to be careful with your knife here. It's really easy to slip and cut yourself. So what I'll do is I'll take it like this and peel away from me, and it's really hard to peel. So sometimes you just kind of got to get in there. This one is exceptionally hard. Alright, so I've peeled half of it. As you can see, that was hard to do. I don't want to cut myself, so what I like to do is get a paper towel and hold this side to do the other half. That helps me keep a good grip on it so that I'm not cutting myself with my peeler, and just makes it overall easier to finish off. The next part is also a scary thing if you're not super confident in your knife skills. So be very careful, but I want to cut it in half longwise so that I can scoop out my seeds, and then we'll be ready for, the squash will be ready for roasting. So I'm just going to dig my knife into the front half of it and press down. Then I'm going to go back into where I just cut carefully. Then just drive down, and that's the safest way to cut your butternut squash. All right, so you can see I've got my squash seeded and most of the membrane cleared out. So I'm gonna set this aside and then chop up a whole medium onion, a cup of carrots, and then we're actually just gonna pop 6, I might go 8 whole garlic cloves into our roasting pan. Let's do this. In they go. Boop, 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 boop. Spread them out. Good. Okay. Next, we're gonna cut our motherfucking onions. We're gonna cut our motherfucking carrots. It might be easier to use a whole carrot here and use just a cup, because that's easier to cut, so you're not having to make so many slices and take so long. But baby carrots is what I had in the fridge, so baby carrots is what I'm going to use. But you don't want to use too small of chunks, because we're going to be roasting this for an hour. If they're too small, they'll burn. So I'm just cutting these into fourths. So I'm just gonna pop these whole, like I said, and into my roasting pan. It's gonna give it a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of salt. Yeah, about a teaspoon. I want a little heavy on one side. I'm gonna roast them cut side down, but I wanna get olive oil on it for flavoring. Hit it with just a little bit of salt. Ooh. I'm gonna chill on the salt because we can always add more later. Maybe I'll turn that like this. Hit it with a little more olive oil. So it ends up being a couple tablespoons of olive oil, which I think is fine. Maybe just give them a little love, a little coating. Sensual Sunday mornings. That's how I like to spend my mornings, is rubbing some elongated vegetables with oil. Yes. Okay. Our oven's preheated to 400 degrees, and they go for about an hour until the squash is tender, and you can clearly see it's got some browning, it's roasted, and it's ready. I've got my veg roasting, and during that time I'm going to use it to make some sage butter that I'm going to add to the soup. It's going to make it really rich and delicious, I think. And like I mentioned earlier, Chef John from foodwishes.com recommended it. I thought it looked awesome. I've made this soup before, but never with this sage butter, so I'm going to show you how to do that. And then I'm going to make some softened garlic butter that I can spread over my French toast and is it French toast? No, what the fuck? French bread. My garlic butter over my French bread to make garlic toast to go along with my soup. So let's make our fucking sage butter. Yeah, I'm just gonna take 3 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to melt this in a nonstick pan and brown it. Browning butter generates this really nutty, delicious flavor. Once it starts to brown, I'm gonna pull it off the heat and then throw in my sage leaves to infuse into the butter. And then once it's cool, we'll just, well, and it doesn't even need to cool down, we'll just throw it into our soup when we're getting ready to finish it. I don't know if this is relevant or helpful, but if there is anyone out there watching that isn't, I don't know, an experienced or super skilled cook, I sliced my butter, rather than putting in the whole chunk, I sliced it into 4 so there's more surface area so it melts faster. Maybe just makes it a little easier. So just a little tidbit from me to you. I'm on medium-high heat, by the way. I'm melting this at medium-high heat. If you put it on high, it'll probably scorch it, but medium-high is good. And you gotta shake it too. You gotta shake it around. That's really effective for reasons that I don't know. I just see lots of chefs doing this. See that? Look what I'm doing. Shake it. Look. It's melting all of it. That was kind of effective. Look, shake. Home cooking. You can see it's browning, and then you can kind of smell. It's a very distinct smell. You won't know it until you see it, but you can't smell it? Yeah. But you'll smell it, you'll be like, that sounds like toasty goodness. And that's about where I want to take it off. I'm gonna turn off the heat, and I'm gonna immediately toss in my sage leaves, 6 sage leaves. And you don't want it on the heat because it will burn those sage leaves, so just gonna incorporate those and pull it off the heat until it's ready to go into the soup. Oh, do you smell that though? Oh, you need to smell this. So I'm just gonna cube up this butter and put it in the microwave for like, I don't know, 5-10 seconds at a time, just to soften it up so that I can incorporate some garlic and some seasonings. So I'm gonna toss it in a bowl. In hindsight, rather than microwaving, I probably should have just let this sit out of the refrigerator to get to room temp so it's more malleable and I can mix some stuff in here. Instead, I just sat here for 3 minutes working it until it got to this nice pastiness, so I can incorporate my stuff to it. Bazinga! All right, I'm gonna add some Italian seasonings. I don't know how much I'm putting in here. It's this much, about that much. All right, we're just gonna cut this motherfucker in half to the best of my ability. Yeah. Oh boy. Oh, we're gonna cut ourselves. Today's the day. Oh my God, that was an uneven cut, but doesn't have to be perfect. Just has to be. Okay. I think we are done. All right, I've got my vegetables roasted. Got my garlic bread ready to go in the oven. All that's left to do is put the vegetables into my soup pot and add some chicken broth, and then we're gonna blend it up, okay? The garlic toast will go in there for until it's golden brown on top at 400 degrees. I don't know how long that's gonna be. You just gotta eyeball it, and then we'll eat. All right, so I'm gonna chop this up in the pan just a little bit, make it easier for the transfer. But it's really tender and soft, so, you know, I might be dulling my knife. I don't know. I'm just spitballing. Maybe down the middle like that. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and transfer it into my soup pot. All right, so I'm gonna add my chicken broth. You just want enough just to cover all your vegetables. So that was 4 cups. I think I'm gonna do another 2. Yeah, it's not gonna cook very long. Then I'm gonna add my sage butter. Get all that goodness in there. I'm gonna bring this to a boil, cook it for maybe 20 minutes or so, and then blitz it up. I'm just gonna blend this together with an immersion blender. If you don't have one of these, then a normal blender will work. You just wanna make sure to do it in batches, otherwise it'll explode everywhere because it's the hot liquid. So we're gonna blend this up. Got all the big chunks ready for turbo mode.
2.
All right, friends, garlic bread's done, soup blended, beautiful color. All that's left to do is give it a taste. Incredible. You get that silky, smooth butternut squash taste. You get the sage, the garlic, everything just perfectly goes together. So I'm very happy with this. I hope you make it. I hope you enjoy it. This shit is delicious. You're welcome.